Good evening, it's Anthony Lamble here to speak about Colombian red-tailed boas. Starting with the background, Colombian red-tailed boas, or the common boa, also the Central American boa, is found in a tropical climate in approximately Central America, obviously by the name. The humidity levels stay between 60 and 80%, a lot of rainfall throughout the year, pretty warm climate. But for personal use, like what I have as pets, they're bred in captivity, so a breeder would go out and probably get some wild boas, and then eventually, a couple birth cycles down the line, they would be captivated and adapt to that. So they're a pretty large snake. Adult females can grow to be 10 to 12 foot, males approximately 8 to 10 feet. So it's a really large animal, can be kind of intimidating, but when they're small, like mine, who's only about a foot long, they look really cool and they're really nice to have. They're in the boa constrictor family, so the way they subdue their prey is they take one strike and subsequently wrap their body around the prey, choking it and asphyxiating it to death, which is kind of gruesome, but they got to live somehow. Some care about the animal. I apologize. They need to be kept in a humid environment, like I stated earlier. So you need to spray their tank or have a humidifier or a mister that will be able to keep the humidity in their enclosure approximately 60 to 80% throughout the day, maybe a little bit lower at night. They need to be fed one rodent of like size, so the rodent needs to be approximately the girth of their body, so you can't feed like an adult mouse to a small snake, or else they won't be able to eat it, and if they did, they'd probably throw it up and be really stressed out about it. They need fresh water every day, preferably, sometimes every couple of days. If they don't, sometimes it evaporates or they drink it, which is kind of weird to see a snake drink, but it's interesting. They need a clean enclosure, so approximately every 2 to 3 weeks, you remove the snake and you completely remove all the bedding and all the items that are in his enclosure, clean it, and then replace it. It can be kind of a hassle, but it's something that needs to be done to maintain a healthy animal. They need to be handled often as well to avoid tank aggression or any other aggression. So when they get older and become more dangerous, you won't have any issues with a snake trying to bite you or strike at you, which would be a lot more painful than when it's a baby. Some traits and behavior about the Colombian red-tailed boa, or the common boa, is mostly sedentary, so approximately 14 to 16 hours throughout the day. He's not going to be very active. He's probably going to be up in a tree somewhere, up in a tree somewhere, or sleeping. They're aggressive eaters generally. I've had issues with mine to where it wouldn't eat at all for the entire time I had it, so I had to trade him out with another one because he might have had a parasite or an issue like that. But generally, they're aggressive eaters, so as soon as it sees prey, they tend to strike it and not pass up the chance to eat food. Something about their morph, which is called their color or their pattern. They're generally a grayish white ashy tone with diamond-like prints on their body. That's the entire gradient throughout the entire body until you get to the tail, which the tail starts turning into a deep red color all the way to the tip. Approximately, it depends on the length of the snake, but a couple inches up its tail. That's why they've been noted as the red-tailed boa, obviously by that. They're docile when introduced and frequently handled. So like I stated earlier in one of my previous points, if you handle this snake a lot, when it grows up and is older, you won't really have any issues with aggression when it's a full-grown adult. But if you don't ever handle your snake and you're always just dropping mice in there and walking away, etc., you might have issues trying to take the snake out of its enclosure because it might assume that you taking the lid off is always going to be prey related. So when you try to handle your snake maybe once a day, once every other day for approximately 30 minutes, that helps a lot socializing and getting used to you, so it doesn't automatically assume your hand or your presence with feeding time. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. A couple of key points I touched on were the background of the Central American boa, where it comes from, what's the environment like, its care, which is generally the environment you have to keep it in when it is in captivity, and the traits and behavior, such as its eating habits, its activity, and what it generally looks like. I hope this has been an informative topic to y'all. Not a whole lot of people know about snakes, but they can be really interesting. Personally collecting a few of my own. I've got a Colombian red-tailed boa, a ball python, and my wife and I are looking at getting another snake. But they can be really cool to have, so maybe some of this information will, spark your mind. Maybe we start looking into snakes as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching and listening to this speech. Have a great evening.